Looks like another long night, doesn't it? So what's up with the vaccines? All of a sudden, it's kind of weird, isn't it? The news will pick up a particular story and they'll run with it, and they'll just squeeze every bit of life out of it. It's ISIS. It's about the fact that America is going after ISIS and we're going to win this war on ISIS, and people that can't even define what ISIS is as an enemy. How are you going to go after something that you can't even see, that you can't even define? Forget about the fact that the U.S. government was involved in creating it, funding it, and arming it. And this thing with vaccinations, what's up with that? You got KTVB out there, our illustrious communist news channel 7, Idaho. Well, they say that the authorities deem that, the vaccination rate in the state is unacceptable. By whose terms? By government's terms? By media's terms? By the CDC's terms? By Big Pharma's terms? By Bill Gates's terms? By the terms set forth by the United Nations? What is our rule of law in this country anyway? Is a constitution our supreme law? Is the Supreme Court our supreme law? Are the state statutes our supreme law? Are the rules and regulations created by a political subdivision that was created without delegated authority the supreme rule of the law? You ask anybody, and it's anybody's guess on what the answer is. Our own government doesn't even understand what the law is. And they can sit there and tell us small, people in white shirts and funny hair that we're just not capable of understanding what the law is. It completely defies logic. So we get in these long tirades about vaccinations, and now the American people on the KTVB page and White House page, and, you got to discredit whatever the White House page. Well, if I had my way, I'd be forcing people to get vaccinated. Well, let's see, how consistent is that with our rule of law in this country? You think you have the right to be able to force the government to tell me how to get vaccinated? Why don't I just force you to prevent you from getting an abortion? You want to kill your baby? By all rights, it's the pure lawful definition of murder. The government has authorized you to murder your child in the name of your choice. But yet, somehow you think that you have the authority to be able to have the government come and inject a needle into my skin? That's funny. Here's a little clue. Governments were created to protect and preserve the rights of the people so that future generations, our children and yours, could have the same kind of freedom we had when we were younger. Well, I didn't have much freedom when I was younger, but it's certainly slight more than I had now. The Constitution was supposed to be able to protect those rights. Well, the Constitution actually wasn't. It actually enumerated the power that the government had. The things that the people were comfortable with allowing them to do. The Constitution was a limitation on government, not people. Government continues to expand its powers, and it does so in the name of security. Another great point. Was it John Adams, I think? One of them. I think it was John Adams or something. No, it was Franklin, what he said. He says, those that give up a little bit of freedom for security deserve neither, and both will be destroyed. You know what that means? Gosh, I'm preaching to the choir here. The only people I have that watch this are my friends. You guys already know this. So just consider this my rant, okay? I don't get it. So they think that we have these socialists think that somehow, and this is a beautiful argument. They'll sit there and they'll say, "Oh, well, these anti-vaxers now are they're going to go ahead and spread measles." Well, let's logically look at that for a second, shall we? If you're vaccinated, think about why you're getting vaccinated, first of all. Do you even know? Well, you're getting vaccinated to prevent you from getting a disease, which means that you're supposed to be immune from the disease, which is why they call it immunizations. See? Immunizations means that you are supposed to be protected from the thing that you're taking the immunization for. So therefore, if I don't take the immunization and you take the immunization, it means that you won't get sick, theoretically, and I will. And with this huge class warfare, rich, poor, black, white, Democrat, Republican, Souther, Norther, mountain guy, flatlander, hey, now we're all the way to... America is so united in its belief now that we've reduced ourselves to divide ourselves on whether we choose to vaccinate our kids or not. Are you out of your mind? Vaxxers, anti-vaxxers. Seriously? If you want to get vaccinated, go ahead. Don't bother to read the CDC spreadsheets or any of the things that the vaccinations come with. Don't bother reading that. Just believe in your head what you've been conditioned to believe through all of the crap that you get through Fox News, MSN, CNN, and the rest of the garbage. Don't pay attention to the fact that they accidentally put glass in there and that was part of CDC, or thimerosal is really mercury, or they're putting formaldehyde in there. Don't think about any of that stuff. You know what it really is, though? I found out that the people that are adamantly opposed to vaccinations are the ones that would have a hard time realizing that they made a mistake. We all make mistakes. I'm not here to point the finger at you, telling you that you're wrong and you did all this. I'm sitting here telling you in this tone of voice that you're not going to be able to tell me to get vaccinated. If you want to get vaccinated with mercury and formaldehyde and all this crap, that, by the way, they have to call hazmat, allegedly, in to do that, to be able to take care of mercury spills. I think I used to play with it when I was a kid in the little balls, And maybe you consider me brain damaged. I don't know. Government would probably consider me that way because I try to think logically or critically. Why don't you look into the facts of the matter? Look into what form of government we have first. And ask yourself, does government have the authority to be able to usurp its limitations in the name of security to be able to force you to do something that you don't want to do? And if they do, then what limitations do you think that they have then? If they have the ability to be able to forcefully stick something of theirs in your skin, what can they not do? This country was built on the rule of law, on the principles of self-government and personal responsibility, where the parents were the ones that directed life. We were the ones that directed government. We were the ones that maintained control of this country. And somewhere along the line, we've been conditioned to be able to believe that government now, we can just sit back on our butt and we can give government all the authority that it wants. And you guys can't even see, well, you guys can. The people on the White House page and some of this other crap can't even see what's going on. And you think that I'm nuts. Why would people like me sit in the front lines all single time and do this stuff, putting targets on our foreheads? You think it would be for my own good? It's for your own good. And it's for everybody's own good to be able to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. You're going to say that the vaccination thing is not a conspiracy? How do you know that? Do you even know how to define conspiracy? I'll bet you couldn't without looking it up. Do you know how many conspiracies that have been going on in America? You think that America is just government is good and all of this stuff happens? You don't know anything about what got us into World War I, World War II. You don't know anything about how the German doctors ended up in America. You don't understand what the creation with these free trade agendas to create a global government without even looking at what happened in the EU. You don't even see that they're putting genetically modified food in there, by the way, that genetically modifies the human genome. Our rights come from God. Unalienable rights from God. Government is to protect those rights. Period. If you have a problem with what I'm saying, I'm sorry, but you know what? I got a right of freedom of speech that was granted to me. And you know what? I'm doing it in a righteous way because I don't want you to end up getting vaccinated and getting your kids screwed up. I just got off the phone with a couple people now. Sick kids. Both of the parents were vaccinated. What happens if those people had those kids and the government screwed them up? How many of you have taken vaccinations that have vaccinated your kids and had problems with them? And how many of them that have not been vaccinated have problems with their kids? Just think about it. God, I love you guys. See ya.